He went on to concentrate on aerospace, reluctantly giving up coach building. He went on to incorporate Bell House Hartwell Aerospace Limited in 1961, which enjoyed plentiful orders off the back of a reputation for high-class work. And in 1971, he accepted a takeover offer from the growing aerospace group Hampton Industries, for whom he remained in position as managing director until 1978. He went on and did many other great things, very, very successful. And one thing's for sure, with houses in the south of France and the Cayman Islands, there's an interesting family background that rules out any form of monetary rewards having any part in the motivation for the Fletcher family for having adopted a role in this remarkable deception. So it's interesting again how the aerospace industry, BAE Systems, how there seems to be a theme. It does just keep popping up. Turning to Claire Chesham, in the same way that Jason Rothwell was star of the show at the conclusion to the investigation, she has to be the real star of the show for the beginning, without whom the deception would never have lasted up to now. She's the one wearing the Fitbit, who picks up the mobile phone from school when she meets Nikki, as the phone, of course, has to make its way from Inskip to St Michael's and Wyre. Otherwise, even the police can never pass the red face test. We have to remember that the only thing that just cannot be faked, that will be there and that's going to be analysed, is digital data. Now, the Fitbit steps recorded from 8 a.m. are consistent with someone who has not driven, and seeing as she'll have been home very shortly after 9:20 a.m. when she's pictured at the top of Allotment Lane, it's one of the images from the police records published in the papers, it can be surmised that running up a flight of stairs for a lie down, perhaps after quite the morning, would show a spike in heart rate and also no further steps. Now, I'm aware I'm throwing out these whole new chunks in different pieces, so it's a question of just holding on to the different pieces and hopefully they'll all come back together. And once again, it's Tama that doesn't fail to deliver by providing information that no one could possibly know unless you're a gatekeeper who's lost track of what's in the public domain or not. Now here I pasted into the blog with the question, what do you see here? Now, ignore the utter crap of the comment made itself. The attachment of the LinkedIn post that Martin Drake, who's the husband of Charlotte, who's personally acquainted with Jason Rothwell, makes at the end of January 2023. And this is the post. This is our neighbour, Nicola Bully, who went missing on Friday morning. She was walking her dog by the river at St Michael's on Garnslang Road. She was last seen at 9:15 a.m. Blah, blah, blah. If anyone has seen her, please dial the police. So a very, normal post when you consider they are neighbours to Paul and Nikki. But here's the thing. It's a slight oversight by Tama, since, like everyone else, he has deleted this post to remove traces of any involvement in the saga whatsoever. Yet, not only did Tama screenshot it and share it for posterity, but it's actually of Claire Chesham having reposted his post. Now, Tama had the foresight to capture this at the end of March 2023. And we know this because in the post itself, it shows 2 months. So 2 months, which dates when the screenshot was taken. So 2 months after it was made, in reference to the original post date. Yet Claire Chesham only ever revealed herself to the public at the end of June at the inquest itself. So what you have here is the the wider team who prepped and prepared with lots of different snippets of information that they were going to be able to use to mislead and manipulate people. But that's that's just a good example of quite an oversight. And another gaffe by another deceiver on X, Twitter, was the post where now I've included the picture in the blog, and it's a combination of two photos. So you've got the the woman in the yellow jacket and the pram, the official um, image, part of the appeal. But then you've also got the top or partial picture of the same woman speaking with Claire Chesham, who's recognizable from just the coat and the hat that she was wearing. It's a sort of like a photo and image from the most sort of strange perspective. I mean, it could be from a drone even, or another source that the establishment set up to be in place to record their magnificent deception being carried out that morning. But in any event, to have posted it on X is just remarkable. It's simply a photo that shouldn't exist, but in and of itself provides the confirmation that fuckery is afoot. So, Saturday the 27th, the morning, featuring Truth Grinders. Now, I'd had planned for a little while a little trip. I needed a little trip centered around my commitment to be in Sheffield all day Sunday. So I like to take in a few sites. I like to get out and about. Last time I looked, it was generally a free country where you can go wherever you like, whenever you like. Now, it had crossed my mind that given there's a documentary, Channel 5 being shown Friday, that there could be a little media presence, sort of preparing a bit of last minute footage ahead of that. So actually, it came as a bit of a surprise. A picture, arriving. So you come in, you drive past the tennis court and the school, and the car park there. Nothing, zero, nothing. Now I wasn't going to park there, nor was I going to park in the grapes. I kind of like to park sort of residentially, just tucked out of the way, really. Um, and it's just a sleepy village on a cold, grey morning. No signs of anyone at all. It's just fine. Opportunity to pay my respects at the church before a good walk, stretch my legs, alone with not a soul about. So after sort of visit to the church and the graveyard, I set off and went up along the river path, and that was the sort of first encounter. So two gentlemen just chatting on the path, had to squeeze my way past, and lo and behold, that's Roger Jones. Um, okay, that's fine. He's out for a walk. So I carry on and do a sort of couple of laps of the fields. The fields are great, really lovely place to walk, and actually or to run and jog. I mean, if you like trail running, it's a great spot. Really nice sort of surface, flat generally, with just a little rise as you approach the sort of rear entrance to sort of Roan Water. Yeah, just really, really nice. Well, anyway, it was on the second loop, and I was walking, approaching the brick building. Can you visualize that? But the brick building in the sense of coming towards it, with the river on the left, with the bench off in the distance, and then, well, what was obviously one of the collective coming through the kissing gate. I didn't know this at this time. Um, you can't recognize anyone from that distance, but I clearly saw that, well, I wasn't wearing a bright yellow beanie. I'm just a stranger in the field. And so immediately took off to the right over the stile to the area that follows a river around. It's called the Hughes. I thought, oh, that's interesting. Um, anyway, when I had finished just a second loop, I thought, oh, let's go and just have a look at the. I mean, you can see it from the bench, but if you just go over that stile, just a little bit along the way, you get a great view. That took a little bit of footage actually of the Peter Fraudling film set, The Island, um, where they created their centerpiece for this, the latest sideshow, clearly forgetting that there is actually ample footage available on the internet of that very day. Anyway, so I'm then returning to back to the stile to effectively exit the field via the kissing gate. And you have to remember, this time of year, there is no sort of vegetation, there's no leaves. You can see for miles. Um, and I could see that there's this person with a bright yellow beanie, with what appeared to be a couple of children in tow, approaching along the river path. And I mean, I think, no, it couldn't be. Sweet Jesus. It was the grifter Joanna Sojka in person. Her comrades not with her at this point. I, I've just, just shocked beyond belief, I have to say. So I had to leave just as fast as I could back along the river path at this point. It was exactly, well, pretty much near enough 9:35. I mean, the worst of it was I hadn't recognised her at all. It was only, in fact, as I recognised the children. But anyway, now as I was going back along the river path, this was when, with hindsight, I realised that the police had already been tipped off that there was an undesirable. Because as I was going back along the footpath, I could see the two police patrolling, coming along the river path. And there was a couple who were waiting for them. Well, they were stationary with their dog. And I thought, gosh, I know who that is. Uh, it was Keith and Hilary Barlow. Now, I had no desire to cross paths, so this was when I thought, well, I'll just veer off. You reach the allotment lane, or that little junction, and you can veer off to the right, up allotment lane, away from the river path. So that's what I did. But then, hello, who's this coming down the track? I recognise, um, big old dog. In fact, I had two dogs with him. So just coming the other way was it's Barry Jobson, also out for his walk, evidently. Um, anyway, I sort of walk, here and there around the block, and back, I think, in round via the sort of the grapes. It's a nice footpath that runs around the back of that. So definitely not wanting to encounter anyone, least of all truth grinders. But I did want to go back to the fields. So I went along, again, back along the river path. But by the time I reached the kissing gate, I could see the grinders, the bright yellow hat, and the sort of brick building, but coming, towards the bench area. And so consequently, I didn't go into the fields. Absolutely no desire to be anywhere in the vicinity, and did an about turn. However, who had I passed along the river path just moments before who was going the other way. None other than Heather Gibbons. Now, she didn't look extraordinarily pleased, to put it mildly, as she passed me going the other way. Now, given I'd done a U-turn, just on my way back, I see Barry Jobson again by this time. Now, he was coming back via the Hughes, so that bit around the river, the classic dog grooming